This story starts with a lunar eclipse and a decommissioned nuclear power plant, followed by a full closure of the freeway at 3:55 in the morning. The closure was a result of a high-speed pursuit and subsequent standoff. Let's just say the law enforcement response was significant. There was a second full closure 50 miles to the north, but I was able to navigate around that one. Welcome to Los Angeles. Today's drive takes me to the coastal redwoods of Northern California, just shy of the Oregon border and home to the world's tallest trees. I'm traveling the entire length of the state, a drive that takes 15 hours without traffic. But when driving through Los Angeles, I always count on traffic. I made my campground reservation 6 months ago, and just over 2 weeks ago, I received my final dose of the COVID vaccine. I was forced to cancel last year's trip due to the pandemic, but thankfully it's all behind us now, and we're gradually returning to normal. On my last visit to the Redwoods during the spring of 2019, it rained each and every day of the trip, and although I walked away with a photo I'm very satisfied with, I never experienced the dense fog this region is known for. My visit that year was also too early for the annual rhododendron bloom, two things I hope to make up for on this year's trip. Although I've visited the Redwoods many times through the years, this is only my second dedicated photography trip to the area. By comparison, I've visited Zion and Death Valley 12 years now, yet for those locations, I still feel I'm only scratching the surface. When visiting a new location, it's easy enough to do online research and to visit the most popular areas, but that's never really been my style. My approach is to avoid those areas initially, seeking instead the quieter places where I can immerse myself in the new environment. Getting to know a location takes time. It's only when we learn to recognize truly unique conditions that we can produce work that does a location justice. Although I'm determined to find some great subjects on this trip, I know much of my time will be spent familiarizing myself with the area. This is a story of my spring of 2021 visit to the coastal redwoods of Northern California. Well, after a very long drive, I've arrived and set up camp. I left the house this morning at 3:15 a.m. and it's a little after 7 p.m. right now. There were 2 full freeway closures on the 5 North, which made things a little interesting, though it didn't add too much time overall to the trip. But it's a little surreal to be here right now, surrounded by some really cool trees along the river here. And whenever I go on these trips, I always have something I call the first day funk, where I feel a little overwhelmed on my first day. And I'm definitely going through that right now. And usually that goes away with some rest and some time and, a nice warm dinner. So looking forward to seeing what I can find tomorrow. Now there's several roads that are closed here in the park, which really limits access. And so we'll see how that has an impact on things. And right now the skies are mostly blue overall, a little bit of high clouds. And this is an area where I'd love to have some clouds and fog and stuff. And we'll see what happens in the days to come. But till then, I'm just gonna keep wandering here along the river, try to get over the first day funk, then head back to camp and make some dinner. Good morning, everyone. Made myself some breakfast and I drove over here to Prairie Creek Redwood State Park. And I've been here a few times and it's a very, very beautiful area. And I was thinking a little bit about yesterday, and man, I got hit pretty hard with the first day funk. I think it was the super long drive, and then once I got here I saw that there were many road closures, which certainly takes it takes some of the options away. But now I'm just spending some time slowing down and trying to be very observant about my surroundings. And the area where I'm at right now is an area where I came here last year, and it was raining at the time. And I found a couple interesting scenes that looked pretty nice, but I didn't really feel like shooting any photos that day. So I'm going to spend some time with this area, trying to get acclimated with my surroundings, and try to become a little more aware of all the various possibilities around me. But it is overcast right now, which is great. A little chill in the air, and we'll see what I could find. So I just went ahead and exposed a single sheet of Provia 100F and also a sheet of Kodak Ektar 100. One of those is transparency film, the other is color negative film. And I have this really cool scene set up here where I have this really cool tree with this branch that just overarches the whole scene, trail in the foreground, and then a bridge off in the background. And the skies right now are quite overcast, and so we have this really nice soft light backlighting the maples and all the other stuff in the scene. And I gotta say, there's something about just slowing down and taking your time, because quite honestly I was feeling quite anxious this morning and had a hard time figuring out what I was going to do today, because this area is still so very new to me. But I did remember this scene, came back to this, and just the act of setting up the camera, taking my time, and in the process of doing so, hearing the creek in the background, the birds chirping, just soaking in the sights and the sounds all around me. I think that's something that really helps me to get over that first day funk, and exposing a little film doesn't hurt either. But really happy to expose some film here, and I think I'm gonna get the camera packed up and then wander around a little bit. Probably not gonna go too far, because this whole area, there's just so much beauty all around me. There's massive trees overhead, and definitely feels pretty good to expose some film. Well, I went back to my truck and exchanged my 8x10 kit for my lightweight video kit. And I'm going on a different trail here that I've never been on before, and just taking the time to slowly take everything in. And when it comes to photography, this place is just absolute chaos. So I'm trying to find some way of simplifying that chaos. And I'm looking for certain features or textures or anything that really catch my eye. And I do like the large redwoods that have the very light colored bark, so they stand out a bit, especially when you get some nice side lighting on them. And also the leaves on some of the deciduous trees. They are very nicely backlit in the overcast skies from above. Speaking of that, a little bit of a mist falling right now. Not enough for a rain jacket or anything, but definitely quite refreshing. And to give a sense of the scale of some of these trees, I want you to check out this fallen redwood back behind me here. It's massive. And this one was actually hollowed out on the inside, making a nice little tunnel. I'm gonna keep wandering around here and see if anything stands out, and I'm not too far from my camera, so I can go back and grab that. It's so calm and quiet here in the redwoods. Love this. So the rain started to pick up a little bit, and I ended up going back to camp, making some lunch. And on my way back to camp, I found a pretty interesting scene. And so I brought my camera over here and set up a pretty simple composition with a normal lens of this really cool big leaf maple with a really strong diagonal emphasis. And it has a pretty strong amount of contrast to the scene. And so I exposed a sheet of Kodak Ektar 100 color negative film, which is probably gonna be my best choice. But I also exposed a sheet of Provia 100F and Kodak E100, which is their new transparency film. So it'll be interesting to see how the different film stocks compare on the scene. And it's still raining actually pretty decent right now, but you never know where I'm standing because I'm not getting rained on at all. And that is thanks to this massive, several 100-foot tall tree that I'm standing right at the base of. So saving me from getting wet and quite convenient. But pretty cool scene to find. Now time to get things packed up and see what else I could find. Well, it is very much a Gore-Texy kind of day. A little drizzle from above and some big drops coming from the trees. And it's really quiet overall, but just the sound of the raindrops hitting the ferns and occasional birds. I'm really happy about shooting those photos earlier today. Getting 2 different subjects in one day is pretty good. But overall, I'm just trying to get a better feel for this place and trying to figure out what sort of textures and colors and subjects catch my eye and come up with a list of themes to pursue and to pay a little more attention to. It was absolutely calm and quiet here. There was a ginormous bear turd on the trail a little ways back, so definitely very mindful of that. I'd prefer not to run into the creator of said bear turd. So making a little bit of noise on the trail and recording a little video helps with that. But I have a few more hours to kill. It's about 2 p.m. right now, and the road will be open by about 5 p.m. So I'm just exploring a trail I have not been on before and just trying to take it all in. But it's an absolutely beautiful day. So it is just after 4:20 p.m. and the fog's rolling in. It's amazing how much it just changes the mood overall. Very quiet, very calm. And I'm still killing a little bit of time before heading back to camp. And so I saw the fog rolling in and found a trail that leads to the coast. Decided to head this direction. Overall, I feel pretty good about the day. Finding 2 subjects, trying some new trails, and overall just trying to come up with some themes to capture. I have a shot that might work for tomorrow on one of the trails that I hiked. And so there'll be a good one to try. Just overcast will be fine. Doesn't need fog, but overcast conditions would be great for it. I hear the ocean in the distance, and the rain has settled down a little bit. But I want to thank everyone for watching. We'll see you around next time. A peaceful redwood forest in the fog is an environment unlike any other. The deafening silence is rivaled only by the vast expanse of Death Valley. As it turns out, this was my only experience with fog on this trip. A change in the weather was on the way, and though I didn't take my 8x10 camera with me that evening, I learned so much about this new environment, and I savored every moment of it. Of the 2 photos I took that day, I'm not overly satisfied with the second image. The upper left corner is distracting, and the composition feels contrived. It was the best I could do at the time, but I know there must be a better solution. I am, however, satisfied with a lush image of the trail and the overarching tree. The composition works well, and I'm glad the wind was absolutely calm. I focused just behind the tree and stopped down to f/45. My depth of field is quite generous, and Provia handled both the color and the contrast very well. This image very much captures the feeling of being there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around next time. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution of just $24 a year helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. For more information on how to support me and my work, please visit the donation section of my website at benhorn.com/donate. I also have prints in my portfolio box set available on my website. You can find a direct link down below in the show notes. Thanks in advance for your support.